Hey everyone, how's it going? In this video, we're going to be comparing the Insta360 X3 to the GoPro Max. The Insta360 X3 is the newer of the two, released just last year. The GoPro Max is actually nearly 2.5, 3 years old now, I think, but when it was released, it was way ahead of its time. So these are considered probably the two best action camera 360 cameras out, so I've been using them both at the same time and been using them both since they've been released. So let's take a look and see what they can do and what the differences between them are, including hardware, software, and really which one is the best option right now. Just looking at the hardware of these two cameras, if we take a look at the specs, then it does appear that the X3 comes out on top. It has larger image sensors, it has a larger touch screen, and it features more unique video and photo modes. But are they really useful, or are they just a gimmick? Having said that, don't sleep on the GoPro Max. Even though it is quite a bit older than its competitor, it still produces really good quality images. GoPro have 2 decades worth of experience creating action cameras, and they put a lot of that experience into the GoPro Max. When it was released, it was by far the best option of any 360 camera, and it can still create some amazing quality video. Just taking a look at the design of both cameras, you can see there are some differences. Both feature dual image sensors which protrude from a rubber-clad body, and both have a touch screen for manual control. The GoPro Max is shorter but wider and features a smaller screen. The larger touchscreen of the X3 makes the camera easier to use and preview media. The Max features a few manual buttons for power and the shutter. The camera is also completely waterproof without a case and features 6 microphones. The X3 also has a rubber textured body as well as a shutter and power button. The X3 is also waterproof up to 10 meters without a case. And I've tested both cameras underwater for, I guess, roughly half an hour of fully submerged underwater, and they both survived. It's never 100% guaranteed that these cameras survive underwater, but I've never heard anyone complain that the Max broke underwater. Insta360 cameras have proven less reliable underwater, so yeah, take that into consideration. So these cameras are both designed with action in mind, but they are still vulnerable with these protruding lenses on the outside. If you break them or scratch them, then you will basically have a useless camera. Let's take a look now at some side-by-side comparisons shot with both cameras at the same time. The Insta360 X3 shoots 360 video at 5.7K resolution, whereas the GoPro Max shoots at 5.6K. The end result is basically the same resolution, the same kind of sharpness. Once you reframe that 360 video, it ends up being around 1080p, but you can upscale that to 4K in both cases. When looking side by side at videos shot at the same time using the 360 mode, I tend to find the X3 shoots slightly more colorful and dynamic video. This is likely due to the larger image sensors that it uses in both of those lenses. It's half an inch compared to around half the size in the GoPro Max. In good lighting conditions, the difference isn't massive, maybe only slightly in how the cameras deal with color. I think the Max kind of does saturate it a bit. I think GoPro's color technology may be slightly ahead. However, when shooting in low light, the difference does become slightly more apparent, and I think the X3 tends to outperform the Max, certainly at nighttime or in darker conditions. The X3 also features a HDR video mode, which automatically boosts the quality of your video, particularly reducing overexposure and bringing out details in the shadows. That is a mode that's only available in the X3. The Max does not have this kind of HDR video mode available. The X3 also has more video resolution and frame rate options. You can shoot 4K at 60 frames per second, whereas there is no slow motion video available in the 360 mode in the GoPro Max. What makes both of these cameras really popular options for action shots is the stabilization feature in both cameras, which basically allows you to use these cameras in any kind of situation that's moving, like skiing, snowboarding, attaching it to your bike, surfboard, roller skates, anything that requires a lot of movement. These kind of cameras are perfect for those kind of shots, as you can see here in these examples I'm showing you. There isn't really a difference between the two. They both utilize the 360 video that they shoot to perfectly stabilize the kind of video that you're seeing here. They both have something called horizon lock, which basically ensures that the horizon is completely flat. No matter if you spin your camera around like this, the horizon will remain flat, which is very useful for very rapid movements. So for action shots, there really isn't much difference when in terms of stabilization and keeping everything super smooth. They both do it in exactly the same way. Now, both of these cameras can shoot, obviously they're 360 cameras, they use both of these lenses to shoot 360 video, but they both also have a single lens mode, which means you just can select in an option to use one of these lenses to use it as a kind of normal action camera that shoots just standard non-360 video, like you shoot with a normal GoPro or with your phone. Now, the Insta360 X3 is ahead of the game here as it can shoot 4K video in this single lens mode. It's not amazing. It's it's using one of these fisheye lenses, and the 4K resolution is, while it's good enough for your watching back on your phone, it's not the best quality, but it's better than nothing, and it does make this a fairly decent 2-in-1 camera. The Max is limited to its single lens mode, 1080p at 50 or 60 frames per second. So again, quite a lower resolution. It still looks fairly decent. Again, if watched back on your phone, it's okay. But 1080p is kind of limiting, I guess. I mean, phones have been able to shoot 4K for about 8 years now. So yeah, it does have the same kind of option, but the resolution is quite a bit lower. The X3 also provides different field of view options. You can select an ultra wide angle view, which would be perfect for if you were cycling and you wanted to get a perspective of the person riding the bike, then this would be a perfect mode to do that. It just uses one of the lenses, but uses an ultra wide angle field of view to capture everything around you. Another unique video mode in the X3 that the Max doesn't have is called Me mode, which makes the camera automatically focus on the user when you combine it with an invisible selfie stick. And this is all done automatically in the camera. You don't need to do any editing. So for vlogs, anything where you want to capture yourself, this is basically a guaranteed way to do that. And it uses that invisible selfie stick effect. Now, this can be used in both of these cameras. If you buy one of these invisible selfie sticks, then attach it to the bottom of the cameras, then it will look like the camera is floating and you can get all these kind of special effects. That's definitely possible with both of these cameras. However, I will say that Insta360 makes far more use of that effect. Again, it has some video modes that automatically make use of it, where you don't even need to edit anything. And we'll talk about that in a minute, but they have a lot of software options which make use of that as well. When it comes to shooting photos, there really isn't much competition. The Max just really is never been good at shooting 360 photos or any kind of photos really. It's limited resolution. For some reason, even the videos look better. If you screenshot a video, it usually looks better than if using the photo mode on the Max. There really is no reason why you would use the photo mode on the Max. It just really sucks, to be honest. Whereas the X3 does actually make some attempt to allow you to shoot good quality 360 photos using HDR pure shot mode, which is kind of like an automatically combines exposures together and spits out a much better image than if you would just use one exposure. And it can shoot in RAW mode. I mean, it's probably not good enough for shooting virtual tours, but for shooting for Instagram and Facebook, it does a decent job. Right, let's move on to talking about the software, because this really is where these two cameras are leagues, miles apart, and why I think basically the X3 is definitely the better option. I really did like the GoPro Max when it came out. Like I said, it was probably the best option for at least a couple of years, but I think especially since the X3 came out with its high quality, larger image sensors, touch screen, and certainly caught up in terms of hardware to the Max. But Insta360 has been way ahead of the game when it comes to software for years now. The amount of options and shooting modes and special effects you can get with the Insta360 app and the desktop software is just way, way, way ahead with what you get with the Max. I can show you some of them here. These kind of special effects you can get. You can create vlogs. There's like a full video editor. You can create hyperlapses, time lapses, and all of these kind of effects are really quite easily in the camera app or in the free desktop studio. So yeah, just in terms of all of this stuff you can get in the Insta360 app. I think just that alone makes it the better option. With the GoPro Max, you do have a video editor, and you can add music, you can add titles, you can combine clips, you can color correct, and so there are some similar options you can do, but I would say there's probably half the amount of effects or options or different editing styles you can get with the Max app, and it hasn't been updated for at least a couple of years, so whereas the Insta360 app is still fairly regularly updated. I will say that some of the stuff you get in the Insta360 app is quite gimmicky. Not all of it is useful. Some of it looks a bit silly and pointless, but some of the things you can get in there are really unique and have become quite popular. I've seen these kind of effects on TikTok and Instagram. So yeah, for shooting for social media, certainly quite useful. This isn't really as comprehensive as I usually make these kind of comparisons. Usually I go into a bit more detail, but it's basically because I think the Max is on its last legs, really. I'm hoping that they release a new one, a Max 2 this year. It'd be really awesome if GoPro could provide some competition, because Insta360 is pretty much the only option out there right now that's new. You can get the Max quite cheap now, so if you did want a kind of cheaper option, it's certainly still a great product. It's great to use. I mean, I've shown you some of the shots here. Some of that was provided by GoPro, but all of those are certainly possible. And if you wanted a slightly cheaper camera, then maybe you could get one online, definitely cheaper than the X3. The latest, greatest software combined with pretty decent hardware, the X3 is definitely, yeah, it shows that it's newer, and yeah, it's definitely the preferred option, I would say. So yeah, guys, that is it. Let me know what you think. Yeah, I've been using the GoPro Max now for like 3 years, so let's hope a new one comes out soon, and then we'll see if there really is some upgrades from GoPro. But until then, I hope you found this useful. Let me know if you have any questions. I will get back to you in the comments. But until next time, I will see you around. Bye.